a lot of times we'll try to tackle these massive tasks. And then we procrastinate it because it's so big. Whereas if we just broke it into a small thing, it would actually help us compound. Because if you acknowledge that you had a winning day, then the next day you're probably going to be excited to wake up and go.
Welcome back to 1010s, where we coach real estate agents out of burnout into high-producing businesses that fuel their life. We are super excited. We're going to do a nice, quick episode for you today because we're going to focus on just one thing. Out of that last episode, I made a comment, Matt, where I said, every single day is a day that you're given, and it's an important thing to stop and ask yourself every day, which is, did I do something to push my life forward, to grow my life into the person that I want to be and where I'm going? And the first thing, which we talked about last time, is, do you even know where you're going? And the second piece, which we're going to do a quick episode on today, is, what is the one thing? What is one thing every day you could do that you could look back on and go, that pushed me closer to the person that I want to be? So Matt, this is a great topic. I'm happy we're going to talk about this.
Me too. And it came up for me when you said that. And this is something that honestly I've struggled with myself, and just kind of getting committed to what is the priority for today, right? Because interesting thing about the word priority is priority means the thing, the top thing, the one thing that's happening. And then all of a sudden at some point we pluralized priorities, which can't really make sense, because if priority means the one focus, how can we have priorities?
Now we have a to-do list.
Many, right? But what are the benefits of being in the social media era is that we have access to entrepreneurs and successful business people who want to share content. And if you dig through a lot of this content, you'll find a very common thread among high producers, which is they have a system for staying focused on 1 to 3 to 5 things max each day that moves them forward specifically. That doesn't mean they aren't doing other things throughout the day, but those are the things that take priority first so that they can advance themselves. And we mentioned the 5 types of wealth in the last episode, and Sahil Bloom talks about in this book that he learned the index card method, where the night before, take an index card, 3 things max that you're going to do tomorrow to advance you forward. And how often are we actually doing that, Garrett? How often are we actually sitting down, writing a list and saying, or just one thing on a piece of paper, like, this is what's happening today to move me forward. If I don't do anything else, I can call the day a win.
It's interesting. And I think that I'm thinking about myself right now and my routines and the stuff that I do in my normal everyday that goes, okay, this is the stuff that I do that allows me to continue to push forward and continue to grow. And I think a lot of us are kind of handling our days. It happens so fast. And I mean, it happens to me where all of a sudden I'll get out of a groove and it's like, yep, you wake up, you take a shower, you shave, and you get dressed, and you come down, and it's like right into the business, right into the world. And it's like answering emails, looking at voicemails, who texted me, who do I need to get back to? And a lot of that is just the minutia of the world that you have created. It's not growing you. It's not pushing you. It's not, and sometimes it's just preparing you, this is positive stuff. Like I look at, like, one of my priorities is self-care, taking care of myself every morning. And there are days that I get out of the routine. This year so far, Matt, and I've recently fallen off of it, and I called myself out on it the other day going, all right, how are we going to re-engage this? I've always been good at gratitudes. I start my days with gratitudes every single day. It's kind of before I get out of bed, it's how I start my world. Been always very good with affirmations. And I have set affirmations that are kind of my go-to affirmations. In the beginning of this year, I started with my mission and my vision statement of reading it every single morning. And they're long. It's like one of those things you could look at and go like, I could skip today. I mean, I read it yesterday. I got a pretty good idea of where it's at. But there's something about sitting down with it and reading it and reminding myself of where am I going and what am I doing. And what I've noticed is by putting that one thing up front at the beginning of every single day, I can watch myself go through my day and make minute little changes where it's like, to fall in alignment with who I told myself I was this morning, what phone call should I make right now that would be perfectly in alignment with that mission statement that I have? What is something I can take care of today that would be perfectly in alignment with this person that I'm saying is my vision and my mission of who I'm going to be? And I have found for myself, that's one of the most powerful things I can do every morning, because I know it'll cause me to make those little decisions. And sometimes I can see it up front where I'm like, that would walk in alignment. And then there's other times going like, way to go, dude. Like what you just set time aside for, where you could have gone on YouTube, you could have gone and scrolled Instagram, you could have done other stuff. You spent it doing this, which is going to allow you to be this person in the future. And I find for me, that is like my one, like core fundamental piece. And I got a couple priorities, but that's my big one.
And what I love about that, Garrett, is that it compounds day over day. A lot of times we'll try to tackle these massive tasks, and then then we procrastinate it because it's so big. Whereas if we just broke it into a small thing, it would actually help us compound. Because if you acknowledge that you had a winning day, then the next day you're probably going to be excited to wake up and go take action on those things. And what's interesting is by taking a moment to think about what is the one thing that I can do today, where if I did that, I could say that today is a win. A lot of times it may not be whatever you have slated for work, right? I'll use coaching as an example. When I have a full on day of coaching calls, I love it. I do get energized by talking to my people. But if that's all I did, it's hard for me to say that that day is a win, because what I was doing is I was showing up for things that I had already acknowledged that I was going to do and perform with people. Now I could receive great things, which I usually do. I usually leave every coaching call like, wow, I learned something really cool. But I also need to fit something else in there that I could say, hey, this is also growing me in terms of the things that I want to grow into, which could be as simple as I need to make sure that I read. On those long coaching days, I need to make sure that I am, instead of always just being there as the coach, I need to go find somebody who's my coach and get into a book and be filled in that way. That's going to help me grow that day. And that's if we don't take the time to look at it, Garrett, I think sometimes we say, well, if I just show up for all my stuff today, like today's going to be a win. And then we show up at the end of the day sometimes and go, gosh, it feels like I didn't really accomplish much. I was working all day, but what did I accomplish? And that is a big trap in real estate, right? We'll realtor all day and then be like, oh, I'm exhausted. I didn't do anything today. It's like, you did all these things, but did you pick out one thing that you were going to prioritize for your own growth?
Yeah, my dad used to say it's really easy in the business of real estate to be and act like a realtor all day long and show up and do realtor stuff. And it's like, but there's a time there of like, are you focusing on you and your growth and where you're going? And looking at priorities, as I was saying it, like when it comes to one, taking care of myself up front, which is why I shared that, is it allows me to actually take better action with the other priorities. Because one of the other ones is I feed off other people's energy. I know I do. It's one of the reasons I love making phone calls, is that I love it when I can raise somebody's energy on the other side. It also takes away energy when I can't do it, and then it turns into a puzzle. I have a lady at the grocery store right now who checks out my groceries when I go through, and I go through her lines specifically because I have not yet figured out how to raise her energy.
This has been a years long effort.
This is a new one. This is a new one.
Maybe this is identifying something we need to adjust about the way your grocery store treats their checkout clerks. Or
I don't know. I have some really good friends in there, and then I got in this one line. I'm like, oh, you are my new challenge. But I feed off other people's energy, and it's the reason I like making phone calls. And what I have found, if I can look at every single day and go, today was a success, it's outgoing touches. I look at, that's not handling business. That's not the handling of a coaching call that I did, or, that is handling what we've already created in this world that we're in. It's the other stuff. And I've always looked at it like a game of tennis, Matt. It's where it's like, I'm going to send this little ball of energy out into the world. And my goal is to send that out to make such an impact that the energy comes back to me. And if I'm doing that, I'm positively affecting the people. By the way, you can negatively affect. You can send negative crap out there too if you want to. Be very careful with the energy that you have.
Please keep that to you. Just diffuse it.
This is why set the morning with positive, taking care of my own being, and then it's like, okay, now what positivity can we send out? And the phone is one of my biggest tools, whether it's text messaging or picking up the phone and making a phone call. And that's how my look at my day goes for the most part, Matt, is if I can look back at it and say, I did something that I know raises my energy, raises the energy of the people around me, it goes right back to that phone. And it needs to be on purpose, outgoing phone calls, on purpose, outgoing connections, not taking care of what's already going on. Because if I'm just taking care of what's going on right here, at some point that energy stops.
Yeah.
That energy was created. We're handling it here right now. A lot of that energy has an end at some point. You've got to be creating new out there. And so that's one of my other priorities.
Yeah, I love it. And I think you can simplify the reason why people say, well, 1 to 3, like 5, like that doesn't seem like enough of what I need to do to move myself forward. And I want to challenge you, like shrink it down, start with 1, let it compound. And I think this is where we teach the alignment loop, which is our kind of daily cadence prompt. So it has daily ignition, which is a personal jumpstart, a launch sequence for your business, and an end of day shutdown to circle everything back. And if you try to apply it all at once and you've never done anything before, it is hard to do. You can actually probably muscle through it for a few days, but then you kind of get a little overwhelmed because you haven't crafted it in a way. And one of the best ways to build a strong alignment loop is start with just one thing. Hey, what is going to be the one thing that I'm going to implement in my morning routine? Because Garrett, you and I are big on morning routines, and gratitude is something that's been in our world for a long time where like that is a priority for me, but it's also not the thing I need to write down because it just happens every morning now. It has become a habit, right? Just kind of like working out is basically a habit for me unless I oversleep my alarm, right? And so if you have habits, great. But what is the one thing that you're going to write down and you're going to say, hey man, if I get this done, and if you have a long list of things, I challenge you to narrow it all the way down to one thing to start and get consistent with doing one. And it doesn't have to be the same thing every day. It can be, but if you could do one thing every day and mark up 1 week of wins, 1 week of just, hey, I hit it out of the park 7 days this week. And I challenge you 7 days. The weekends got to count for you too on these things. So maybe it's personal stuff then. You're going to be able to see like, gosh, I'm starting to feel better. And circling back to our last episode, all of a sudden I'm happy. No more money came in 1 week from that stuff, but we're happy. We're feeling productive. We're starting to build this ball of energy that's going to just create amazing things in our world. Then all of a sudden you add another thing.
Well, so I
all
think
of a sudden you're winning.
For anybody listening to this right now, I think your opportunity that sits in front of you right now is to figure out what's your one thing. We shared mission and vision, we shared gratitudes, but it also could be I'm just going to pick up the phone and call 3 people a day right now that are outgoing, proactive phone calls. It might be writing a handwritten note and saying, you know what, this week, Matt, I love that you said like it's for some of this stuff. It's if you're really going to create a habit, make it be that this is the person that I am that does this. I don't do it as an assignment. I don't do it as this is because I have a job and this is what I'm going to do. The best thing you can do is to take ownership and say, no, I do this because this is who I am as a core. I love it when somebody says, I didn't mean to bother you on the weekend. And I'm like, this is who I am. Like me picking up the phone and wanting to have a quick little session and figure out what you got going on. Like that makes me so happy to be able to do it because I've built it into this is who I am as a core. As you said, gratitudes in the morning. I don't have to sit there and go, okay, that's right. What do I do every morning? Gratitudes. Okay, gratitudes. Okay, so what like would I be? My brain just after years and years and years of doing this just goes into that realm. The affirmations that I have, yes, one way in the past, I had to sit there and have my list of affirmations and I had to start them and go, okay, it's affirmation time. I'm going to do these 3 times a day. And these are my core affirmations. My affirmations are so ingrained in my brain now that I can repeat them all the time. Great things happen to me every day. Everything I touch turns to gold. These are affirmations that are just built into my world. And when I picture them, when I say them in my head, the one, everything I touch turns to gold, I have a vision of myself reaching through the phone lines and putting my hand on somebody that is called looking for help for me. And they're like, that's what I needed to hear right now. And every time I do that, I'm like, oh, the damn affirmations work. I'm like, that's what this is all about. But it's something that has been built in over time of adding one thing. And Matt, and I think it's really important that you said that is sometimes we want to go, let's do all this stuff. And that's why we want to do this quick episode of like, no, one thing you're going to do better, one thing you're going to start, build a habit in that says, this will get me every day moving in the path to the direction of the person that I want to be. Just one thing.
One thing. It'll change your life, and it'll help you build a business that fuels your life instead of consume it, which is what we're all about here at 1010. So we didn't say it in the beginning. I know you guys have heard a lot, but if you're brand new to this podcast and you want to learn more about what we do, head over to 1010s.co. We have Inside Track, 11 Circle, one-on-one coaching. We have a YouTube channel. We got all these things that are available to you. And of course, we have this podcast, and we appreciate you guys joining us as we always do. If you got value out of this, we would love for you to share it with your friends and spread it around. And we'll see you on the next one. Appreciate you guys a whole lot.
Appreciate it. See you next time.